Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about the cytoskeleton, which is a structural framework of the cell. So first we will know the who gave the term cytoskeleton on the basis of shape of the cell. So Nikolai K. Koltsov in 1903 gave the term cytoskeleton on the basis of the shape of the cell. So this is the structure of cytoskeleton. Before discussing this, first we will take a glance on cytoskeleton, what is this, how it functions, and what are the various specialties of this particular organelle. The cytoskeleton is an essential cellular component acting as a dynamic framework that gives shape, strength and movement to the eukaryotic cell. So this is about the cytoskeleton. What is the properties of this one? So now we will discuss the structure of cytoskeleton. So this is cell membrane. This one is the cell membrane, and the grayish material inside the organelle is known as cytoplasm. This is cytoplasm, and this one is the nucleus, also a major component of the cell. Now we will highlighting the three features of the cytoskeleton on which cytoskeleton is established: microfilament, microtubule, intermediate filaments. So these red spreading structure is known as microtubule, and inside this is centrosome, and this green like structure is known as microfilament, and this structure bluish structure known as intermediate filament. These three filaments are protein in nature. They have a different function and specialty in itself. We will discuss them one by one. Now we will know the brief intro of the cytoskeleton. So this is about the 3D structure of the cytoskeleton. Now the brief intro of cytoskeleton, which is consist of protein filaments like microfilaments, intermediate filament and microtubules. These are interconnect and support the cell's structure, allowing it to function properly. The cytoskeleton plays a crucial role in cell division. So this is the introduction to the cell. In this, what is cytoskeleton, how it works, and what are the various components. So cytoskeleton is a dynamic and essential framework that provides shape, strength, movement to the eukaryotic cell. Composed of a complex interconnected network of protein filament. These are the three protein filament: microfilaments, microtubules and intermediate filament. So these are interconnected network of protein filaments. Now the crucial for key cellular processes: cell division, intracellular transport and communication, ensuring that the cell can adapt to their environment and carry out life-sustaining processes. Without cytoskeleton, cell would lack stability, organization, making it impossible for them to maintain their structure or transport material efficiently. So this is the brief intro of cytoskeleton. Or we also can say that a cell cytoskeleton consists of these are the three primary building blocks as microfilament, microtubules and intermediate filaments. Each of these filaments has distinct role, but they work together to create a complex and interconnected network that supports the cell, where it's the movement of organelle, structural reinforcement or change in the cell shape. The cytoskeleton regulates and coordinates all of these functions. Now the components of cytoskeleton and their structure. The three primary building blocks, three distinct types of proteins, filament that work together, microtubules, microfilaments, intermediate filament, each with unique properties and roles. First, we will discuss the microtubules. Microtubules as the cellular highways. Microtubules built from the tubulin subunit. Subunits. These are the tentative structure which I am drawing like this. These are the subunit of tubulin protein, and some protein are attaching to there and some are detaching to this side. So these are the free tubulin dimer. So these are known as the free tubulin dimer, and this is alpha and this is beta. So this is the positive end where the protein molecules are attaching, and this is the negative end where these are detaching. But this is a tentative structure through we can understand that the how tubulin units are gathered and form a network. Now the key function of microtubules are microtubules built from the tubulin subunits are tube-like structure crucial for preserving cell form, moving substances inside the cell, ensuring proper cell division. These structures are the largest filament. In the cytoskeleton and highly dynamic, continuously assembling and deassembling as needed. Means this side these are assembling and this side these are disassembling. So there is a mark, reversible mark. It can shows that assembling and deassembling process. Now the key function is structural support. Microtubules act like supportive beam, preventing cell from collapsing under pressure, keeping their shape intact. Intracellular transport. These structures form pathways inside the cell that enable motor proteins including kinesin and dynein to move organelle, vesicles and proteins to their destinations. This is the supportive one, intracellular transport. They act as a railway track for motor proteins, kinin and dynein to move organelles and vesicles. Now the cell division. In both mitosis and meiosis, microtubules create spindle fibers that pull chromosome apart for proper distribution. Next is the cilia and flagella. The absence of a cytoskeleton would strip cells of structure and purpose, eliminating the possibility of life. Now we have taken an example through which we are trying to know how the microtubules are work. Now the example is that how microtubules work inside the neurons or nerve cells. Microtubules transport neurotransmitter from the cell body to the axon terminal. So neurotransmitters from the cell body to the axon terminal reach through the microtubules. Microtubules transport neurotransmitter from the cell body to the axon terminal. To reach distant part of the body, this is essential for proper communication between neurons. So this is an example how the microtubules work inside the neurons or nerve cells. Next is the microfilament, the cellular shape controllers. Structure. So actin filament is like this. Actin filament or actin protein. So single unit is actin protein and the both chain combined is known as actin filament because it takes a shape of filament. That's why it is known actin filament. Actin filament, microfilament form the cytoskeleton's most slender structural fibers. They are composed of actin protein, forming a dense network beneath the plasma membrane. Their primary role is to provide mechanical support. Mechanical support enable movement and facilitate intracellular transport. Now the cell shape and stability. In cell shape and stability, microfilament help maintain the cell shape and allow to withstand external pressure. In cell movement, they enable cellular movement through cytoplasmic streaming. Cytoplasmic streaming. Streaming means pseudopodia, means false feet. Pseudopodia means false feet, and muscle contraction. So this is the role of microfilament in cell movement. Enable muscle contracts, amoeboid movements, and cytoplasmic streaming. Now next is the endosis and exocytosis. Microfilaments support the inward and outward movement of materials during these essential processes. Now we will take an example for microfilaments, how it works. Suppose in WBCs, means white blood cells, microfilaments allow the cells to change shape to engulf bacteria, means phagocytosis. To protect the immune system, means microfilament allow the cell to change its shape according to the work. If there are a pathogen, and change the shape according to the pathogen and kill them and save the cell and healthy. Now next is the intermediate filament, that is cellular scaffolding structure. It is a rope-like in structure. Rope-like in structure, may be singular, maybe double helix, or maybe tetramer. So this is the structure, tentative structure of intermediate filament. These filaments serve as internal reinforcement, ensuring the cells remains strong, structurally sound, sound. Unlike microtubules and microfilament, these filaments are less dynamic and function primarily as permanent scaffolding. Inside the cell, intermediate filaments are assembled from various proteins specific to each cell type. So first is the cell integrity. It provides cell integrity. Intermediate filament protect the cell from mechanical stress by distributing force across the cytoplasm. Next, the anchoring organelles. They help to keep the nucleus and other organelles in place, means in fixed position. Next is the cell-to-cell communication. These filaments form desmosomes, structure that strengthen cell connection in tissues. Example is now the functions of cytoskeleton. What are the various functions which has been done by the cytoskeleton? Now take a look over this. These are the functions which we have to study in detail. Stability and structural support, intracellular transport, cell division. In this, both division are involved, mitosis and meiosis, cell movement and migration, cell communication. So these are the highlighting features and the function which has been done by the cytoskeleton. First, we will discuss the stability and structural support. So this is stability and structural support by the cytoskeleton. How it works? Cytoskeleton is responsible for several key cellular functions that are essential for life. Stability and structural support is the major one. In this, primary roles of cytoskeleton is to give rise the cell its distinct shape and maintain a stable internal framework. Different filaments contribute to this. Microtubules prevent compression. Means resist compression. Prevent compression. Microfilaments provide flexibility, and intermediate filament offer tensile strength. This balance helps the cells resist external force. Means external force cannot disturb the. So these three make the balance of the cell that resist external forces and maintain their internal structure. So in one line we can say that these one maintain the cell's structure and resist external forces and maintain the internal structure of the cell. Now we will take an example for that. RBC, red blood cells. In short, these are known as RBCs. RBCs rely on a strong cytoskeletal network to maintain their shape, squeezing through narrow capillaries, which makes efficient oxygen delivery. Now next is the intracellular transport. Intracellular transport means among the cell, not different other parts. So intracellular transport means the cytoskeleton act as a transportation network for moving molecules, organelles efficient within the cells. Means cells need to move molecules and organelles to different locations for proper function. The cytoskeleton act as a transportation network. Transportation network means cytoskeleton act as a transportation work means these move the cell organelles different location for proper functioning. That's why it is known as transportation network. With motor proteins moving along microtubules, and microfilaments are like a railway track. Means motor protein travel along microtubules and microfilament act as a railway track. Railway track means over which heavy vehicles or cargo wagon are run over the railway track. So this function is conducted by the microfilaments. Heavy loaded functions by the microfilaments and microtubules moving along the motor proteins. Yeah, or we can say the motor proteins moving along with the microtubules. Now we will take an example for this, how these two works, microtubules and microfilament. In neurons, synaptic vesicles carrying neurotransmitter travel along microtubules to reach synapses, enabling brain function and proper communication. So the role of microtubules in neuron is to carrying out the neurotransmitter from cell body to the axon terminal for proper function and communication. Now next is the cell division, in which we will know mitosis and meiosis division. So cytoskeleton is important for equal distribution of chromosome to daughter cells. Means upcoming daughter cell which will formed at the end of the division, in which distribution of chromosome should be equal. This is an important and unique feature of mitosis. During human, cytoskeleton plays a crucial role in cell division by forming the mitotic spindle or spindle fiber. Means microtubules form the mitotic spindle which pulls chromosome apart, forming mitotic spindle which helps distributing chromosome equally between the daughter cells. Means we can say in just few words that at the end of the divisions, daughter cells are formed. In daughter cells, there should be a fixed phenomena that distribution of chromosome should be equal, and that is only possible due to the spindle fiber that are formed, spindle fiber or say mitotic spindle formed by the microtubules. So microtubules pull apart the chromosomes during the mitosis, and microfilament assist in the division of cytoplasm. Microfilament form a contractile ring that divide the cytoplasm into two, that is known as cytokinosis. This is the division of cytoplasm in which it is divided into two, known as cytokinesis. So this is done by microfilament. Now we will take an example for these. During human embryonic development, Cells divide rapidly to form tissue and organs. The cytoskeleton ensure proper chromosome segregation, proper or accurate chromosome segregation, preventing genetic disorder. Means when the embryonic development occurs, the cytoskeleton make ensure that the accurate chromosome segregation should be done, because if accurate chromosome segregation will be occur properly, then there will be no genetic disorder. If any error occurs in this, then there is a possibility of genetic disorder, which may be known as abbreviation. Now next is the cell movement and migration. Cell movement means what type of movements are conducted by the cell, and migration means from one place to another in migration. So cells move in response to signals during processes like wound healing, immune responses, and embryonic development. Suppose in wound healing, how the cell move and functions. When a cut occurs inside the skin, there is a need of wound healing. So many types of cells act over there, and the proper functioning for wound healing are conducted by the DNA through the proper cell division. In this, cell move in response to external signals during the processes wound healing, as I said, immune response and embryonic development. The cell's ability to move relies on cytoskeletal structure like actin filament and microtubules. Mechanism of movement occurs in two actin filament and microtubules. In actin filament, during amoeboid movement, using pseudopodia means false feet, microtubules form the core of cilia and flagella for sweeping or propulsion. Amoeba uses pseudopodia to extend their cell body, move forward, and enclosed food particles for intake. So this is done by actin filament. Amoeba use pseudopodia to extend their cell body, move forward, and enclosed food particles for intake. So this is done by the actin filament. Cilia and flagella, supported by microtubules, allow movement in sperm cells and respiratory tract cells where the cilia are present. Now take an example for this. Epithelial cells lining in respiratory tract. In respiratory tract, there is a lining of cilia. In respiratory tract, there is a lining of cilia that sweep mucus and trapped particles out of the lungs, protecting against infection. So this is the main function of microtubule. Now next is the cell communication and signal transmission. Cell communication means how the cell communicates through messaging, and signal transmission means what type of various sign and symptoms they transmit from one place to another. The cytoskeleton is involved in cell signaling and communication by helping cell detect and respond to external stimuli. It interacts with protein on the cell membrane. It interacts with the protein on the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is situated after the cell membrane. So this is plasma membrane, and the proteins are present over this plasma membrane, facilitating communication between the cell and the extracellular environment. So this is the major function. It connects to protein on the plasma membrane, helping to transmit signal from outside to the cell and to the inside. Now take an example from pathology. Cancer cells can alter their cytoskeletal structure to become more mobile, allowing them to metastasize and spread. Metastasize to other parts of the body. Now next is the cytoskeletal disorder and disease. How the disorder and diseases occurs if there is any deficiency or improperness in the cytoskeleton. Defect or abnormalities in cytoskeleton functions can lead to a wide variety wide range of diseases. Example is cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, immune deficiencies, and skin disorder. Problems with cytoskeletal operation can cause a number of disorder and diseases. Cancer. In cancer, abnormal cytoskeletal dynamics contribute to uncontrolled cell growth and metastasis. Uncontrolled cell division and metastasis. Next is the neurodegenerative disorders. In this, Alzheimer's and Parkinson are linked due to defective microtubule associated proteins causing neuronal damage. Next is the immune deficiencies. Defect in actin filament can impair white blood cell movement, weakening and immune response. Next is the skin disorder. Mutation in keratin genes cause fragile skin condition. Fragile means very thin skin, like epidermolysis bullosa. Next is the inference. This lecture. In summary, we can say the vital role of cytoskeleton is a fundamental cellular structure. The cytoskeleton is one of the most essential structure in eukaryotic cells, providing mechanical strength and shape, intracellular organization and movement. It acts as a cellular skeleton and the capacity for movement and division. In division, mitosis and meiosis. It acts as a cellular skeleton, maintaining shape, facilitating transport, enabling cell division and allowing communication. The absence of a cytoskeleton would strip cells of structure and purpose, eliminating the possibility of life. So this is the significance of cytoskeleton. It is critical for processes from neuronal signaling to immune responses. From neuronal signaling and immune responses to wound healing and cancer progression, the cytoskeleton influences countless biological processes. As research continues to explore cytoskeletal dynamics, new medical treatment for cancer, neurodegeneration, and genetic disorder may emerge, highlighting its significance in both health and disease. So, final thought, the absence of a cytoskeleton would strip cells of structure and purpose, eliminating the possibility of life. Thank you so much.